Siren technician severely injured in catastrophe. Only a human medic could save her. The asteroid station buzzed with the end-of-shift bustle. Somewhere overhead, the bulkheads groaned as automated loaders cycled for the night run. In a dimly lit maintenance corridor, Kalis moved with practiced ease, her long fingers flying over the diagnostic panel of a malfunctioning ore processor. The air shimmered with the acrid tang of overheated metal, flickering lights catching the silver-white strands of her hair as she ducked under a conduit. Her deep blue skin, flushed with purple from exertion, glistened faintly. Bioluminescence played in subtle patterns across her storm-gray eyes and the elegant points of her ears. The world here was small, just the hum of machinery, the scuff of her boots, the steady pulse of the work she knew by heart. She crouched, tracing a sensor cable, brow furrowed in concentration. The processor grumbled, coughing up error after error in a rapid cascade of symbols on the screen. She tapped a code, intent on recalibrating, when a klaxon blared. A deep, insistent warning that vibrated in her chest. Instinctively, Kalis jerked back, but too late. With a shudder and a roar, the processor erupted. Molten alloy burst from a seam, a white-hot jet arcing through the narrow space. Pain, sharp and absolute, drowned out all sound. Kalis's right forearm vanished in an incandescent flash, the air suddenly thick with metallic vapor and the scent of burned flesh. She collapsed, her luminous blood, violet and gold, splattering the walls in a surreal, shimmering cascade. Her vision fractured, the world tilting wildly. Footsteps thundered closer. A human voice, clear and commanding, cut through the chaos. "Stay with me." Marcus Hale, field medic, skidded to her side, his breath already coming in measured bursts. He dropped to his knees, barely sparing a glance at the devastation before tearing off his jacket and wrapping it tight above the ruined stump. His hands moved with frantic precision, applying pressure, knotting the fabric into a makeshift tourniquet. Kalis blinked through the agony, struggling to focus on Marcus's face. His eyes, steady, blue, intent, met hers as he scanned the wound. "Listen to me. You're going to be all right." He fumbled open his medkit, retrieving a stabilizer. The needle gleamed in the sickly corridor light. She fought to speak, her voice filtered through the soft, mechanical undertone of her translator. "Will I survive?" Her tone was eerily calm, as if speaking from somewhere far away. Marcus didn't flinch. He injected the stabilizer into the vein just above the tourniquet, watching as her skin's glow dimmed with the onset of shock. "You're not leaving me today," he said, his voice low and certain. He set his jaw, then pressed a portable cauterizer to the raw edge of her limb. The scent of burning tissue rose, acrid and terrible. Kalis gasped, teeth, obsidian black and sharp, clenching against the pain. Marcus ignored the sweat beading at his brow, sealing the last of the vessels, then carefully unwrapped a regenerative patch. He pressed it gently over the wound, his fingers steady, adapting what he knew of human trauma care to the alien anatomy beneath his hands. All the while he spoke to her, anchoring her to the moment with questions. "What's your name?" he asked, voice pitched to reach her through the haze. "Kalis," she managed, head lolling, pulse fluttering under her skin. "Kalis," he repeated, as if the syllables were a lifeline. "Stay with me. Tell me, what shift do you work? What do you like to do when you're not crawling around broken machinery?" A faint, ironic smile flickered at the edge of her mouth. "Repairs and stargazing," she whispered. He grinned, heart hammering as the corridor filled with the pounding of boots. "Well, you'll have to show me the view sometime." The patch glowed softly, fusing to her flesh. The echo of new voices signaled the arrival of the Zyran Med team. Their chief, Dr. Lyra, a statuesque woman with sharp violet features, stared in shock at the scene. You used human methods? She demanded, disbelief and something like anger flaring in her eyes. Marcus rose, refusing to back down. She's alive. That's what matters. His hands, stained with iridescent blood, trembled only a little. Kalis, eyes fluttering, reached out as the medics loaded her onto a stretcher. Her fingertips brushed Marcus's wrist. For a heartbeat, a tingling current raced up his arm. A Ziran trait, electric and oddly intimate. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the cacophony. As the medics hurried her away, Kalis's world narrowed, the corridor receding into darkness. Marcus stood frozen, pulse still racing, watching her go. He knew he had crossed medical and political boundaries, risked his career and more. But as the last echo of her touch faded from his skin, he knew with absolute certainty that he would do it all again, because he had saved her life, and for now, nothing else mattered. Kalis awakened to a world of muted light and gentle, unfamiliar sounds. The medbay air was tinged with ozone, filled with the steady pulse of softly glowing monitors and the low, harmonious hum of Ziran healing machinery. Above her, transparent screens displayed shifting geometric glyphs, biometric readouts dancing in pale blue and lavender. She blinked, memory returning in fractured shards, the searing agony, the metallic tang of her own blood, and the human's steady voice cutting through chaos. Marcus. His name drifted through her thoughts like a lifeline. She tried to move, and the absence struck her like a fresh wound. Her right arm, gone. For a moment the room spun, panic clawing at her chest, a silent scream trapped behind her lips. Her remaining hand clenched the sheet, obsidian nails digging into fabric. The bioluminescent patterns beneath her skin sputtered erratically. A gentle touch settled on her shoulder. Dr. Lyra stood beside the bed, her violet eyes steady and kind. "You would not have survived without his actions," she said softly, her voice threaded with relief and something close to grudging respect. Kalis's throat felt raw. "Marcus," she managed, tasting the name as if it might ground her. Almost as if summoned, Marcus entered the room. He looked utterly spent, his hair in disarray, uniform jacket stained, dark circles under his eyes. But his smile, when he saw her awake, was gentle and unguarded. "Morning, Lumina," he said, the old Earth nickname falling easily from his lips. "How's the pain?" She summoned a wry grin, her storm-gray eyes glinting with dark humor. "I've had better days." Her voice carried a brittle edge, but she managed to keep it light. Marcus approached, producing a sleek cartridge of analgesic. "This should help. Less risk of neural shock than the standard issue." Before he could administer it, Dr. Lyra's hand intercepted his. "She is receiving proper Ziran care," she said crisply. "Your methods are not required here." There was a note of finality in her tone, but not outright hostility. Marcus nodded, stepping back without protest. "Of course, doctor. I just—" He hesitated, searching Kalis's face. "I wanted to make sure you were comfortable." Kalis's eyes softened. "Thank you, Marcus." She glanced at Lyra, whose posture remained rigid, then looked away, uncertain. The conversation drifted, hesitantly at first, toward matters of home. Kalis's kin group, a tight-knit cluster of Ziran families, had always questioned her decision to work so closely with humans, viewing it as a reckless break from tradition. Now, with her lying here, her body forever altered, their skepticism would only harden into something worse. Kalis's jaw clenched. "They warned me humans were dangerous. Reckless. They'll say this proves it." Marcus's gaze was gentle, his words careful. "You risked your life for the station. That's not reckless. That's brave." He hesitated, then added, "I'll speak to them if you want. I can explain what happened." Dr. Lyra shook her head. They will not listen to a human, Marcus. Nor to me, perhaps. She paused, her expression softening. But Kalis survived. That is what matters. Before Kalis could answer, the door hissed open. Director Yates, the station's corporate liaison, strode in with a storm of authority, his face set in a scowl. Dr. Lyra, Kalis, and Mr. Hale. His gaze settled on Marcus, brimming with accusation. Corporate is alarmed. You intervened with human medical protocols on Zyran personnel. That is a breach of protocol. Of treaty. Marcus straightened, chin lifted, but his tone remained measured. Kalis gave her consent. I have the recording. He tapped his wrist comm, transmitting the audio. Kalis's filtered voice, calm even in agony. Will I survive? Followed by her assent. Yates listened, lips pursed, then exhaled slowly. The board will review this. For now, you're off the hook. He looked at Kalis, his tone softening by a fraction. But there is another issue. Your role requires full dexterity, 2 functional arms. Without it, you cannot return to work. A silence hung in the room. Kalis stared at the ceiling, jaw working. The thought of being cast aside, made obsolete by a single moment, tightened her chest. What am I supposed to do? Drift? Marcus spoke quickly, hope flickering in his voice. What if we develop a prosthetic? Neural-linked, blending human and Zyran technology. Not just a replacement, but something better. Something made for you. Dr. Lyra's eyebrows shot up, skepticism plain. Zyran neural resonance is highly specific. Human tech is incompatible, at best. Kalis's eyes met Marcus's, something fierce and defiant sparking within. I want to try. The words rang out, bolder than she felt. If there's a chance, I want it. Yates gave a terse nod. You have limited time. If it fails, the decision stands. He left without waiting for a response, the door sealing behind him with finality. Dr. Lyra lingered, her hand gentle on Kalis's shoulder. This is your choice, she said. I will help where I can. She looked at Marcus, her gaze less frosty now. Do not let her down. When the room finally quieted, Marcus sank onto the edge of Kalis's bed. He looked at her, not as a patient, but as something more complicated, more human. Her skin, once dimmed with pain, now pulsed with faint, hopeful patterns. It'll be a challenge, he warned, half smiling. I have never built anything like this. Kalis's laugh was low, genuine. I never wanted easy, she replied, her voice steady for the first time. And in that moment, hope flickered, bright, tentative, a connection sparking between them. Something that felt nothing like fate, and everything like choice. The next day, Marcus commandeered a disused storage bay, transforming it into a makeshift laboratory. Cargo crates became workbenches, their surfaces quickly littered with data pads, alloy samples, and tangled cables. He called in a favor, enlisting Juno, the station's top engineer, a wiry woman with sharp features and a knack for solving impossible problems. Together, the 3 of them pored over blueprints and alien schematics, the air humming with the energy of invention. Kalis arrived with a new, quiet dignity, her missing arm a badge of survival rather than loss. She watched as Juno calibrated the neural interface, her hands deft over the circuit lattice. Marcus explained, Zyran nerves transmit on an oscillating frequency. If we can match the resonance, the interface will hear her intent. Juno frowned, flicking through equations. The bioluminescence complicates things. Their skin carries electrical signals. Visual feedback and nerve impulses are tied together. Kalis joined the debate, surprising them both with her knowledge. Zyran alloy absorbs and amplifies neural current. If we use a human titanium base and overlay with Zyran composite, the interface could adapt in real time. Her eyes gleamed, pride threading her words. They tested hybrid materials, running simulations deep into the station's artificial night. Marcus showed Kalis the mapping technology. Tiny sensors tracked the movement of her intact arm, building a model for the prosthetic's range of motion. Kalis marveled as the holographic limb responded, fingers flexing in translucent blue, responding to her thoughts in ways Zyran medicine had never allowed. For once, she felt not broken, but transformed. Something new, something possible. Privately, Marcus presented Kalis with a small device, a prototype neural echo. It was simple, no bigger than a palm, fitted with soft contacts that pressed against the skin at the end of her stump. It reads your intent, Marcus explained, voice low. When you imagine moving your hand, it vibrates. Just a small signal, but the first step. Kalis pressed the device to her skin, hesitant. She closed her eyes, focusing, picturing her missing hand curling into a fist. A faint, steady vibration hummed against her nerves. Her skin shimmered with new bioluminescent patterns, pale gold and deep violet swirling across her cheekbones. When she looked up, Marcus's eyes were on her, filled with something tender and unspoken. The silence between them felt intimate, fragile. He reached for her hand, squeezing gently. You're doing it. The link is real. Kalis's throat tightened. It feels like a promise. She let herself meet his gaze, letting the moment linger. Before either could speak, Marcus's comm crackled, an urgent summons from the medical director. He hesitated, reluctant to break the spell. Kalis called after him, her voice soft but unwavering. Thank you for believing in what could be. Marcus turned in the doorway, his smile warm despite the fatigue. Always, he said, and disappeared into the bustling corridor, leaving hope alive and growing between them. 3 weeks into the prosthetic project, the boundaries between Kalis and Marcus had begun to blur. The storage bay turned laboratory was now littered with holographic blueprints, tangled cabling, and the half-finished skeleton of what would soon become Kalis's new arm. They worked side by side in a rhythm that felt as natural as breathing, Marcus adjusting the sensor arrays, Kalis watching the diagnostic readouts flicker across translucent screens. Marcus's hands trembled slightly as he calibrated the interface along the prosthetic's shoulder mount. He could feel Kalis's gaze lingering on him, her storm-gray eyes keen and unflinching. Your heartbeat quickens when you're near me, she observed, voice quiet but edged with curiosity. She tilted her head, the shimmering filaments of her hair catching the lab's blue light. Is it discomfort? Marcus dropped his gaze, the blush creeping up his neck unmistakable even under the harsh work lights. It's not discomfort, he admitted, voice softening. It's attraction. For a moment, silence crackled between them, electric and almost dangerous. Kalis's skin responded instantly, an intricate latticework of bioluminescent patterns blooming along her cheeks and down her throat, pale gold and amethyst intertwining in shifting spirals. He recognized it now, a Zyran sign of affection, unmistakable and beautiful. I wondered, Kalis murmured, her tone gentle, almost teasing, if humans hid such things. Among my people, it is always visible. Not usually, Marcus said, offering a crooked grin. We're better at hiding or pretending. Her laugh was low and musical, diffusing the tension. I prefer when things are clear. The air between them felt charged, each glance lingering longer than before, every accidental brush of fingers carrying the promise of something more. Beneath the technical chatter, something had changed, something neither could ignore. As they broke for a moment, Kalis settled on the edge of a workbench, her new arm's unfinished chassis resting nearby. She hesitated, then spoke, voice softer now. My kin want me to return home. For convalescence. For tradition. They say I need the familiar. That I should heal among my own. Marcus leaned against the bench beside her, shoulders nearly touching. Do you want to go? She shook her head, silver-white hair falling in a shimmering curtain. No. Here, with you, I am more than my injury. I am not a warning or a lesson. I am a possibility. I choose to stay. He smiled at her, heart pounding. You're more than you know, Kalis. Their bond deepened with each word, with every silent moment shared in the hush between calibrations. It was unspoken, but unmistakable, a current running beneath everything they built together. The spell shattered as the door burst open. Security Chief Mira Chen strode in, face set in grim lines, a datapad clenched in her gloved hand. Her uniform bore the crimson insignia of station authority. We have new evidence, Chen announced, urgency crackling in her tone. The explosion wasn't an accident. Surveillance picked up a masked figure sabotaging the ore processor. It was deliberate. Marcus straightened, shock rippling through him. Deliberate? Why? Chen's eyes were cold. Motive is obvious: hostility toward human Zyran cooperation. The saboteur wanted this project. And you two, shut down for good. Kalis's expression hardened, the bioluminescence on her skin darkening and swirling in anxious, jagged patterns. We're a target now. Marcus nodded, jaw set. Then we keep moving forward. We don't let them win. Chen held his gaze for a moment, then nodded. The station's on alert. Be careful. Both of you. As the security chief left, Marcus let out a slow breath. Kalis looked at him, resolve burning in her eyes. We finish this. Together. The next day, the prosthetic stood at last, resting on a padded tray. Its surface shimmered with embedded filaments, bioluminescent pulses echoing Kalis's own neural rhythms. Every alloy segment was perfectly balanced, a blend of human engineering and Zyran artistry. The air in the lab was thick with anticipation as Kalis arrived for final diagnostics, her movements graceful despite the tension thrumming beneath her calm exterior. Marcus fitted the device to her shoulder, his fingers careful, reverent. Ready? He asked, searching her face for any hint of doubt. She nodded, her gaze unwavering. Let's begin. The moment her skin touched the interface, the prosthetic responded, pale light spreading in concentric rings, matching the patterns on her own skin. She flexed her phantom fingers, and the artificial hand curled in perfect mimicry, glowing brighter with each command. A grin broke across Marcus's face. It's working. You're doing it, Kalis. She watched the arm move, wonder breaking through the anxiety. It feels real, alive. She raised her new hand, letting the light play across Marcus's skin as she touched his cheek, a gesture both intimate and triumphant. Before they could savor the victory, the lab doors hissed open again. Chen returned, this time with Director Yates in tow. Both looked tense, faces drawn and tired. We found the device used in the sabotage, Chen reported, holding up a sealed container with a writhing mass of nanites inside. It was nanite-based, programmed to trigger a catastrophic failure in the processor. Yates's jaw was tight. We traced it to Dr. Rowan, biologist, human, affiliated with a supremacist group, True Origin. He's in custody, but refuses to talk. Marcus's fists clenched at his sides. So this was about us, about the work we're doing. Chen nodded grimly. And you, Kalis, are now a symbol. There are those who want this collaboration to fail. Kalis's skin flickered, patterns darkening to midnight violet with anxiety and fear. She squared her shoulders, forcing herself to meet their eyes. Let them see what we've made. I won't be used as a weapon against what's possible. Yates eyed her with grudging respect. Your courage does the station proud. But be careful. There will be more who try to stop this. As the officials withdrew, the lab fell silent once more. Marcus turned to Kaylis, the weight of recent revelations heavy on his face, but in his eyes was something steadier. A promise, unyielding. He reached out, taking her new hand in his. The sensation was electric, her touch sending a familiar, tingling current through his skin, now magnified by the neural resonance between them. Whatever happens, we face it together, Marcus said softly, voice firm with conviction. Kaylis interlaced her fingers with his, feeling the strength in his grip, the warmth of his trust. Her bioluminescent patterns softened, swirling in gentle gold and lavender, a silent testament to hope and connection. Together, she echoed, her voice certain. Their hands remained joined, a partnership forged not just by adversity, but by choice. A spark of possibility brightening the uncertain path ahead. Security tightened around them, closing in like a fist. Every step they took on the station's polished corridors was monitored by impassive drones, every word spoken under the cold gaze of surveillance nodes. Juno cursed under her breath as she scanned her badge at the lab entrance, glaring at the two armed guards posted outside. Feels like we're the criminals, she muttered, hauling a crate of diagnostic modules inside. Kaylis watched the security presence with growing unease, the bioluminescent patterns on her forearm pulsing in anxious staccato. If corporate gets nervous enough, they'll shut us down before we finish. They're already looking for a reason. Her storm-gray eyes darted to Marcus, searching for reassurance. Marcus, jaw set, moved with determined efficiency. Then we don't give them a reason. We press on. Run simultaneous tests. Keep the data flowing faster than the bureaucracy can bury us. He set a tray of neural gel beside the prototype arm, meeting Kaylis's gaze. If we pause now, we'll lose everything we've built. Kaylis's mouth twitched into a shadow of a smile. You sound like you've done this before. Not like this, he said quietly. But I know what's at stake. They worked in a pressure cooker haze, the air sharp with chemical tang and unspoken fears. Juno grumbled constantly about the endless oversight. Too many eyes, too many questions. Kaylis kept her head down, her resolve hardening. She would not let fear dictate the outcome. Not now. Late one evening, with Juno gone and the lab quiet, Marcus lingered at the edge of the soft glow thrown by the monitors. Kaylis approached, her steps soundless. She reached out, fingertips brushing his wrist. You're pushing yourself, she said gently. You haven't slept. He offered a tired smile, but the strain was clear in the set of his shoulders. There's more to this for me than the project, he admitted. Back during the Europa conflict, I treated soldiers with injuries we could barely patch up. Human prosthetics were always a compromise, never truly part of the person. I made a promise to myself to do better, to find a real solution. Not just a replacement, but something that lets people reclaim what they lost. Kaylis absorbed this, the weight of his words sinking in. This isn't just about my arm, she realized. It's about building something new together. Marcus turned, his eyes unexpectedly vulnerable. Yes. You showed me what's possible, what I couldn't see alone. She stepped closer, her hand rising to trace the line of his jaw, gentle and sure. Their foreheads met in a Ziran gesture of trust, a bridge between worlds. Kaylis's skin glowed in swirling, harmonious patterns, gold, amethyst, and blue, fusing into a living tapestry. The air between them vibrated with silent promise, the intimacy deepening with every shared breath. The moment shattered, as if struck by a hammer, when a blaring alert erupted from the station's intercom. Red lights pulsed in the corridor. All personnel, secure stations. Dr. Rowan has escaped custody. Suspected inside aid. Repeat, security breach. Marcus's eyes flashed with alarm. Rowan, how? Suspicion twisted in the lab like a cold wind. Juno burst back in, out of breath, her face pale. They're saying he had help. Someone inside. Kalis shook her head, voice steady. If we stop now, we hand them the victory. We proceed with the integration. I will not let fear decide my fate. Juno nodded, her jaw tight. Then let's do it. Full lockdown protocol. The lab sealed, heavy doors closing with finality. Guards took position outside, their presence a stark reminder of the danger pressing in. Kalis lay back on the diagnostic couch, her new arms interface gleaming with anticipation. Marcus checked the neural links, his touch gentle but focused. Mapping sensory inputs now, he said, voice calm, guiding her through the process. Tell me when you feel pressure. Kalis closed her eyes, focusing. There, she whispered, as a gentle tingling traced through her phantom limb. And there. Fingers, palm, wrist. He adjusted the feedback, monitoring the readings. Now, motor control. Try to flex your fingers. She pictured the movement, sending the intent through nerves and circuits. The prosthetic hand responded, fingers curling, then extending in a smooth, elegant arc. The bioluminescent filaments along its surface pulsed, harmonizing with the patterns on her skin. Kalis's breath caught, awe and joy mingling in her storm-gray eyes. We did it, she breathed, voice trembling with emotion. It feels real, alive. Marcus grinned, unable to hide his pride. That's all you, Kalis. You made this possible. Her laughter was bright, echoing in the sterile lab, a sound that felt like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. No, Marcus, we did this. Together. They spent hours running diagnostics, each test a celebration. Kalis's movements grew more fluid, the arm's response more attuned to her intent. She lifted objects, manipulated tools, even traced delicate lines on a datapad, each success fueling her determination. When the lab finally emptied and the echoes of celebration faded, Kalis found Marcus standing alone, lost in thought at the far window. She approached in silence, stopping only when the distance between them had all but disappeared. She reached for him, her hand, her new hand, sliding up to cup his face. He leaned into her touch, eyes closing. She pressed her forehead to his, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to the heat of their skin and the mingling glow of her patterns. In that hush, Kalis initiated a Zyran bonding ritual. Her bioluminescent patterns flowed from her arm, across her chest and neck, reaching toward Marcus. The colors shifted. Soft gold, deep violet, and shimmering blue, moving in time with her breath. She pressed her lips to his, the kiss electric, charged with warmth and longing and a promise that ran deeper than language. Marcus shivered at the contact, feeling the energy pulse through him, a connection that was more than physical, an unspoken vow woven from hope and trust and shared adversity. They pulled apart only when the calm crackled, breaking the spell. Chen's voice was taut, urgent. Marcus, Kalis, report to the command deck. New evidence. Juno is implicated in the sabotage. The words hit like a blow. Kalis's patterns flickered, anxiety surging. Marcus took her hand, grounding her. We'll face this too, he promised, resolve hardening in his eyes. Side by side, they moved toward the door, their bond undeniable, tested by crisis, strengthened by choice, and now, more than ever, unbreakable. Chen led the way, weapon drawn, boots echoing down the sterile corridor as Marcus and Kalis followed in tense silence. The lab's door slid open, revealing Juno hunched over the prosthetic's open interface, hands trembling as she adjusted a cluster of neural relays. The room was thick with the scent of ozone and anxiety, every wire, every tool, a reminder of what was at stake. "Step away from the table, Juno," Chen commanded, her tone clipped and steely. The muzzle of her sidearm tracked his every move. Juno froze, eyes wide and haunted. "Please, I'm not your enemy," he stammered, raising his hands. "I had no choice." Kalis's storm-gray gaze narrowed. "True origin?" she asked quietly. Juno's voice cracked. "They threatened my family. Said they'd space them if I didn't sabotage the project." His words tumbled out in a desperate rush. "I only meant to disrupt the integration, not destroy anything. I never wanted anyone hurt." Marcus stepped forward, eyes searching Juno's pale face. "Why didn't you tell us?" "They monitor everything," Juno whispered. "If I'd spoken, they'd have known. You'd all be dead by now." Chen's calm crackled. She checked her wrist, sifting through the station's latest intercepted transmissions. Her face softened, just slightly. "He's telling the truth. We've got messages from True Origin, threats, instructions, surveillance on his family. He's been under their thumb for weeks." Juno sagged with relief, tears brimming in his eyes. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'll do anything to make this right." Kalis exchanged a look with Marcus, silent understanding passing between them. "Then help us stop them," she said. "We need to draw them out. End this, for all of us." Together, they hatched a plan. They would simulate a catastrophic prosthetic malfunction, broadcasting the failure on internal channels to bait the True Origin cell into action. Kalis volunteered as bait, her voice unwavering. "If this is the only way to end it, I'll do it. I won't let them win." The preparations were swift and precise. Marcus rigged the prosthetic's telemetry to mimic erratic signals. Spikes of neural feedback, false error codes, a convincing portrait of disaster. Juno, shaking but resolute, relayed the decoy data to the hidden True Origin handlers. Chen coordinated security, setting her team at strategic points throughout the cargo level. The trap was sprung in the station's shadowy underbelly, near the cargo bay's maze of crates and scaffolds. Kalis stood alone in a pool of pale light, her skin's bioluminescence dimmed to a nervous shimmer. The prosthetic hung limp at her side, malfunctioning by every visible metric. A tense silence pressed in. Then figures emerged from the darkness, masked, armed, moving with purpose. The True Origin agents closed in, voices low and hard. "Step away from the interface, Iziran," one snarled, leveling a pulse weapon. "You're coming with us." "The experiment ends now." Kalis lifted her chin, meeting their hatred with calm defiance. "You're afraid of what we can become together," she said softly. The first shot rang out, energy crackling overhead, searing the metal bulkhead. Kalis dove, the prosthetic whirring to life as Marcus's hidden override disengaged its defense systems. She rolled behind a crate, the new arm's bioluminescent filaments pulsing in warning. One agent lunged for her. Kalis swung the prosthetic, channeling its stored charge into a focused energy pulse. The blast knocked the assailant off his feet, sending his weapon skittering away. Chen's team burst from the shadows, exchanging fire with the True Origin cell. Marcus, working from a nearby terminal, fed targeting data to the prosthetic's sensors. "Kalis, right flank, 2 more incoming." She pivoted, the artificial fingers locking around a second attacker's arm. The energy surge immobilized him, dropping him to his knees. The firefight was brief, but furious. Security overwhelmed the remaining agents, securing the area with brutal efficiency. Juno, following the plan, relayed the location of his family, hidden in a pressurized service pod. Chen's squad moved swiftly, rescuing them before True Origin's failsafe could be triggered. Within minutes, The saboteurs were in custody, their plot unraveled. After the adrenaline faded, the station's atmosphere shifted. Security doubled, protocols rewritten, a new vigilance settling over every corridor and common room. Kalis's prosthetic, battered but functional, required immediate recalibration. She sat in the lab's diagnostic chair as Marcus worked, his hands gentle as he adjusted the neural relays. Juno hovered nearby, guilt and relief warring in his expression. "The stress test gave us incredible data," Marcus observed, running a scan. "The defense systems integrated perfectly." Juno nodded, voice hesitant. "I can help refine it further, if you'll let me." Kalis met his eyes, her expression unreadable. "You can help," she said at last, "but trust is earned back, not given." Juno's shoulders sagged, but he nodded, determination in his gaze. Together, they worked late into the cycle, tuning the prosthetic's resonance, integrating feedback from the battle. The device, once a symbol of division, was now proof of resilience. In the following days, the corporate board arrived in person, touring the lab with guarded curiosity. They watched as Kalis demonstrated the arm's full capabilities, the seamless neural interface, the bioluminescent feedback, the defense protocols. Impressed, they made an offer: joint research positions for Marcus and Kalis on Terra, the homeworld itself. Later, as the lab emptied, Kalis and Marcus stood alone. The prospect of Terra loomed. New opportunities, new scrutiny, and a world that had never truly welcomed her kind. Marcus leaned against the workbench, his expression cautious but hopeful. "It's a chance for us, a fresh start. But you'd be under more eyes than ever. There's risk." Kalis's gaze was steady, vulnerability and resolve in equal measure. "Terra would be a new world for me. Every look, every word would be judged. But with you, I would not face it alone." Their feelings were unmistakable, the unspoken ache between them finally surfacing. But the political barriers remained as real as ever. Yates arrived, tension etched into every line of his face. "Kalis, the Zyran Council demands you return for medical review. They're calling your judgment into question, blaming your relationship for compromised decision-making. You have 48 hours to make your case before they enforce repatriation." Kalis's jaw tightened, but her eyes gleamed with defiance. "Then we make the prosthetic so vital, so groundbreaking, that separating us is unthinkable." Marcus smiled, admiration clear. "2 days to change everything. I'm with you, Kalis." Hand in hand, they turned to the prototype, aware that the next 48 hours would decide not only their future, but the future of what they had created together. On the observation deck, Marcus and Kalis stood shoulder to shoulder before the great expanse of the viewing glass. The stars scattered across the velvet blackness, swirling nebulae and distant worlds, reminding them both of all that had brought them here, and all that still lay ahead. In Marcus's hand was the data slate, its screen pulsing with the neural interface's final results. Kalis's bioluminescent patterns traced languid spirals along her arm, their glow reflecting the anticipation and exhaustion they both felt. "It's better than we dreamed," Marcus said, voice hushed with awe. He scrolled through the report, every metric surpassing even their most ambitious projections, reaction times indistinguishable from a natural limb, adaptive feedback tuned to Kalis's unique bioelectric signals, defense protocols integrating seamlessly with both human and Zyran systems. "You made the impossible possible." Kalis's lips curved into a faint wry smile. "We did. Together." She leaned into him, letting the quiet of the cosmos wrap around them. Below, the station's corridors hummed with activity. The Zyran transport, a sleek vessel, its hull shimmering with living light, was already on approach, a silent threat and a promise both. The council's order still loomed over her, but now, for the first time, Kalis felt the weight might be shifting. Their achievement was too great to ignore. Marcus's hand brushed hers, tentative but sure. "If they force you to leave," he said quietly, "I'll follow." He turned to face her fully, his blue eyes steady. "I've arranged for passage to the Zyran homeworld if it comes to that. Or, if the politics get uglier, a post for both of us in neutral space. I won't let them tear us apart." Kalis's storm-gray gaze softened, warmth blooming beneath her skin. "You would leave Terra for me?" The question was barely a whisper, but it carried all the wonder and fear of their impossible journey. "For you," Marcus replied, "I'd cross any distance." He hesitated, searching her face. "I know what we're risking, but I also know what we've built, what we could still become." She let the silence linger, the gravity of his words settling around them like a promise. Then, slowly, she reached for his hand, intertwining their fingers. "There's one thing I want before the council arrives. A Zyran ritual. Something never attempted with a human." She paused, her voice trembling with hope and uncertainty. "A permanent sharing of our bioelectric patterns. It's a bond. Deeper than any oath." Marcus's breath caught. "What does it mean?" "It means our minds and emotions will resonate," Kalis explained. "We'll be attuned. No secrets, no barriers. It's permanent. I would not ask if—" He silenced her with a gentle touch, thumb brushing the line of her jaw. "I want it. I want you. All of you." A hush fell as they retreated to Marcus's quarters, a sanctuary of soft light and tangled sheets. Kalis set the ritual in motion, drawing intricate sigils with her bioluminescent skin across his chest and along the pulse points of his arms. The air shimmered with energy as she pressed her forehead to his, her breath mingling with his, hearts pounding in perfect unison. She whispered ancient words, her language flowing like music, the meaning resonating between them even before the translator could catch up. "My pattern, shared with yours. My current, bound to you." Her fingers trailed along his skin, igniting dormant nerves with tingling warmth. Marcus surrendered to the sensation, feeling her presence flood his mind, not an invasion, but a gentle illumination, the boundaries between them dissolving. He sensed her awe, her hope, the lingering ache of past wounds and the wild, fierce love she felt for him. In turn, he opened himself to her, letting Kalis feel the scars and dreams he carried, the deep certainty that their union was no accident. Their bodies met in the ritual's embrace, the pleasure and vulnerability heightened by the current running through them. For a heartbeat, it felt as if they had become something entirely new, a harmony neither Zyran nor human, but a synthesis of both. Their minds pulsed in time with the stars outside, and for that long, miraculous night, the station faded to a distant memory. At dawn, the transformation was undeniable. Kalis woke with Marcus's thoughts echoing in her mind, his worry for the day ahead, his unspoken affection. Her skin glowed with intricate, shifting patterns, each pulse matched by a flutter in his chest. Marcus traced the new symbols, wonder blooming across his face. "Is it supposed to feel like this?" he murmured, awe in every syllable. Kalis smiled, brushing his lips with hers. "It is more than I hoped. Even among my people, such a bond is rare, but with you—" She let the thought finish in the silent language they now shared. The calm chimed, shattering their reverie. Chen's voice, crisp and urgent. "Marcus, Kalis, docking bay now. The council has arrived, and you're wanted front and center." They dressed quickly, fingers lingering on each other's skin, unable to help smiling at the new intimacy. Down the corridor, station crew parted for them. Kalis felt a subtle shift. Some looked with awe, others with suspicion, but none could ignore what she and Marcus had achieved. In the docking bay, the atmosphere was electric. Ziran delegates in flowing robes and human dignitaries in crisp uniforms stood in uneasy proximity. The Ziran transport's hull shimmered, not with threat, but with the ceremonial lights of a diplomatic envoy. As Kalis and Marcus entered, Chen gave a nod of encouragement. Director Yates, flanked by a pair of Terran officials, addressed the crowd. The success of this project has changed everything. Both councils have agreed to a new, independent research facility, neutral territory, for joint ventures. Marcus Hale and Kalis are to be its inaugural co-directors. A ripple of reaction swept the room. Relief, excitement, a cautious kind of hope. Kalis's hand found Marcus's. He squeezed gently, feeling her joy and nerves shimmer through their connection. "We accept," Kalis said, her voice clear and sure. "Not for ourselves alone, but for all who come after." The Ziran council leader inclined his head. "Your bond is unprecedented. We will study it, learn from it, and honor what you have built." As the formalities ended and the Ziran transport docked, Kalis turned to Marcus, her skin radiant with hope. "A new chapter," she whispered, and Marcus felt the truth of it echo through their bond. Together they stepped forward, transformed by love, loss, and discovery, more than the sum of their origins. Different but perfectly in sync, like twin stars casting new light across the cosmos. That's the end of the story. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and write in the comments what you liked most about this story. Our team will be very grateful to you. You can find even more fascinating stories on our channel. See you in the next video.